Hey guys, we're bringing you another episode of weekly viewer deck reviews. This time we've got Dimir Control, Chandra's Big Booty Blast from Striderstone, and we've got Callus's Litch deck, which looks pretty interesting as well. Mythos Titan Lich, the name of that one. So in these videos, I do this for meta analysis as well, for just weekly tournaments and stuff for standard primarily. This, I usually get more historic decks than I do standard for this, but I do review standard when they pop up. You just pop by the stream, submit a list, drop by the Discord, wherever you want to submit a list, and I can review it for next week. So if you guys are into it, we just kind of go over main deck, sideboard, what I might change if I like the mana, etc., little tweaks. And let's dig into the list. So let's start out with the Dimir here. So we've got Disfigures, so we've got some early game answers. We've got some walls, which is just mill. So I don't think mill, I don't know if this, I think this is self mill. It might just be mill though. So Wall of Thoughts, Ashiok to mill, and then Ashiok to kind of I don't know. I guess it kind of mills. You can bounce. Gives you. Oh yeah. The +1, the tokens will mill, I guess, and you can disrupt what the opponent's trying to do, I guess, with the -3. And then we've got Tyrant Scorns. So 4 of these. Now I don't really like the Tyrant Scorn in this list as much because, like, yeah, you can bounce your Wall of Lost Thoughts, but it's not really worth it, I don't think. Just seems like a lot of sparse removal. Like, I would rather see more eliminates because I think they're better, or even disfigures, like 1 mana answers. I think these are really good right now. And the -2/-2 means that the Selfless Savior can't sacrifice themselves and save a creature. If it's like a type of engine, you can actually just -2/-2 that and get it off the table, which is nice. And then we've got more removal here. So just a lot of removal. 2 Remorses seems a little weird. I'd like to see 3 or 4. 2 doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Elspeth's Nightmare. Destroy target creature an opponent controls with 2 or less power. Target opponent reveals their hand. Choose a non-land card from it. That player discards it. Exile their graveyard. Pretty okay. I mean, you're already exiling the graveyard with Ashiok, so that's not great, but I mean, multiple cards for multiple purposes. I would say, like, we kind of need to decide what we're doing with the list, because this looks like the win con is mostly mill, and if it's mostly mill, I want to see, like, more Ashioks, maybe like a Drowned in Secrets engine, like something to expedite the process. This seems like very, very slow mill. The mana is also really terrible here. This isn't enough land for, especially if you're gonna run 5 drops. So either I think drop the top end here. Like, it just seems very scattered. To put another win con, I think it's mill is the idea. Like, Puppets has shown me a few other lists too where it's like a little weird. Like, their Shrine deck had very few lands as well. Like, I feel like they just take an idea and then, like, either copy paste the list and then shave off lands to make room for more cards, or, like, I don't know, it just seems very scattered some of the times. It's also like 4 mana removal here, like this Eat to Extinction. It just seems like a pile, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I can understand the board wipes, especially in best of 1, but this seems like a lack of lands. Like, I would definitely change a lot of this. Like 1 Cling to Dust as well to exile like 1 card, unless we're just going full on the mill plan. Commence the end game. I mean, that's if we're pushing it toward control, right? Like, yeah, we could go not mill, but like, for me, I'm trying to see what Puppets wanted to do with this list and make sense of it. That's part of the exercise here. Mythos might be worth having over Heartless Act. Mythos. You mean Mythos, the one that can copy stuff? Even without the Abzan mana for 3 mana, just to destroy a creature? I don't know. I think I'd rather just have Murderous Rider. That way I can actually blow up a Planeswalker with it. Like Nithroy I don't think is good unless you have Abzan mana. Like 3 mana removal's garbage. I don't think it's that good. Losing the game with Planeswalker, yeah. I just don't think that it's good at 22 lands. Like I would probably just cut the scorings to make room for more lands. Like 4 scorings gone, up to 26 lands, and then the deck instantly looks better. And then like maybe run 3 or 4 Lost Walls if we're actually going with that route, or just scrap these. Seems very, very terrible. Like just the idea of this, like just being split between control, mill, and only having like 22 lands. Like 22 lands is just rough. So I would cut Scorns probably. Scorns for lands. I don't know if we want these. Like sacrifices a creature or sacrifices an enchantment. Like I guess if we're in best of one, it's kind of okay. But with the reduction on like we no longer have to deal with Tamir Reclamation, which is what you would have this card for. Like maybe Elspeth's, but then they've already gotten value off of it too. So I'd probably chuck this for lands. Probably cut these, maybe. Maybe cut these for like 1 more Remorse. 1 more Ashiok if we're going with the mill plan. Like it depends on if we, so you can go 2 ways with this. Either so you cut these to make room for lands, and then you decide whether you want to be a mill deck or whether you want to be a control list with like Ashiok Muse and like commence the end game, that type of stuff where you're actually producing win cons, maybe Kefnit or something else. Like I don't know, like you go in a different direction with it, or you go mill and you add more Ashioks in, and you maybe remove some of your removal here early game for some more top end, some more win cons with mill. It just looks like a pile, but definitely needs more lands. Not good. This deck hurts my head, so I'm probably going to move to the next list. Like I just can't. There's just too much that needs to change in this. We'll go to Strider's deck. This is also a best of one list, so we don't have to worry about sideboarding. I remember this list, I think. This one's really funny, actually. This is called Chandra's Big Booty Blast Landestro. We've got 3 Mind Stones, which makes no sense to me. There should be 4 here, I think. Because we don't have any other ramp. And I think ramp is the name of the game here. So Striderstone uses this combination a lot with like Blood Sun and Lotus Field. That way you don't have to sack the lands as they come in, and Lotus Field comes in untapped. So you use that type of thing for ramp as well. So it's like Boros ramp, basically, is the idea. Use Chandra's for against Flash, against mono blue tempo and such. And you ramp into it when you can. So the Lotus Field ramps and the Mind Stones ramp. But I would say like being able to sacrifice 1 more card potentially for the Mind Stone might be worth it. Like even over a Rubble reading, I would say, almost. Like being able to ramp into your big win cons and your board wipes is super important, I think. Love the balls on this guy too, like 3 shatters and then like 4 stars. Like just going over the top more, which makes sense, especially in a meta with like Field of the Dead. Maybe we do need more Rebel readings. Maybe this is fine. I would just like 1 more room for Mind Stone. -1 tome. Yeah, I think that's probably fine too. Like this controls your land draw, but this actually just ramps you and gives you a way to draw late game, which is more important, I think. This is really good too, though. So like, yeah, maybe -1 tome. But the way that this deck works is just early game ramp. You want to Blood Sun into Lotus Field, and then play like Star of Extinction, play like lots of big things. It's pretty easy to pilot for the most part. Sometimes you'll run into situations where you have to make a big decision, like Scribe during your upkeep for like a Star of Extinction, or knowing that you just have to draw it raw with something else instead of spending mana to scry. This doesn't spend mana to scry, so it's a bad example, but like knowing your outs on Mind Stone draws for this, what to haphazard bombardment when. Like there's a lot that goes into this here and there, but for the most part, you just ramp, clear the board when you need to, and then just get there. And there's a little bit of life gain here for red, and here for red. And this Heliod's is actually pretty good against like a Nex, Embercleave type thing if mono red's popular in Historic. I think goblins are still running around 2 in best of 1, so being able to out heal those is pretty important. I think you can like land destruction goblins and they might suffer a bit, but not always fully, because they can just restock the board pretty fast, and their goblins that they get into can be ramped too, so it's a little rough. But if you're not running into a lot of goblins, or goblins aren't a problem because you have Clarion, then, you know, GG. Like, that's nice. Looks like a really fun list to grind in best of 1. I'd give it a whirl one of these times. I think I have all these cards as well, so. And then we've got the Mythos Titan Lich list by Callus here. So not much I would change about this. Like, I think this is one of those lists that Strider's been min-maxing a lot, so it's kind of hard to tell what I could improve on. So 3 Fae of Wishes. This looks like it's set up for best of 3. Yeah, it says best of 3 right here. So here we go. Magma Quake. Okay, Magma Quake might be a suggestion then. Okay. One second. So you got 4 Sweepers. Return of the Wild Speaker. That's spicy. 3 Mithros. Nice. This is not historic. This looks like it's standard. Yeah, there would be different lands if it was not standard. Let me see if I can put the puzzles together. So Litch says if you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Pay 4 life. It's indestructible. So really nice. It ignores Soot as well. Extinction Event, unless you do it for odd, it survives. Fae to grab. Jace, looks like Jace can be a win con here. Thought Distortion's a nice one of. Especially if you're up against you white and they're just they let the Fae go through, and then you're like, okay. And you grab Thought Distortion, and they're like, oh no. How many times does that happen, Callus? I want to know. The Crypt is nice for Fae sideboard, especially since you can just exile the graveyard instantly. 2 Duress, 2 Negate. So it seems like the actual sideboard cards are 2 Duress, 2 Negates, 2 Chemisters. And then everything else is sort of like a Wish sideboard type of deal for Fae. I like the Titan's Nest too. So spend this mana only to cast a colored spell without X in its mana cost. So this can be like for Fae of Wishes, so you can wish for free almost. Like you can wish for, yeah, for 1 mana. Like if you have 3 cards in your graveyard, you can exile them to cast that for 1 mana. That way you can combo off or get stuff from the sideboard while answering the board state, which is nice. Okay, is a 1 mana spell, yep. And then this fuels the graveyard. This is an engine for the graveyard. We don't have anything else really. We have 4 Shark Typhoons as well. So I imagine late game you just like exile all of this, and then you play Shark Typhoon for 1 mana as well. Yeah, yep. Return is 1 mana. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, Lich just pumps the graveyard on top of just being a boss. You can have multiple of these up too, which is pretty cool. Like just because you can pay for 8 life and ignore a board wipe. And then we've got a lot of spot removal. I like the look of this list. 28 lands too, so you respect the land count plus needing more for the ramp with Uro and such. Makes sense. Did you run this when Growth Spiral was still in, or did this come after that? See, what I thought you meant by Lich, I thought like Lich's Mastery was what you were gonna be brewing around. So 1 Wild Speaker looks at 12 to 15 cards and you choose 5 for 1 mana. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. Oh, yeah, 12 to 15 because you have Litch. Oh, yeah. Because you get to look at the top 3 cards each time with Litch. Ooh, that's good. That's spicy. Nice. Yeah. No, this is a super interesting list. I might actually give this is like down my alley with intricate plays and stuff. Like making the right decisions on what to exile and everything else. That's insta self mill dump. Yeah. So if Lich goes off, then you're just like, oh, okay. Now I have all my stuff in my graveyard. Oh, it looks like I have 3 or 4 extra mana here. That means I can cast 3 spells. So you're like, okay, 1 mana, Fae of Wish. I'm gonna get Jace. GG. Because I just milled myself. Because then you plus with Jace. I guess you don't get to draw a card. You have to get rid of Lich. So you have to extinction event your own Lich, I guess, in that place. In that case. Oh no, if you would draw a card, yeah, you have to get rid of Litch for this to work, right? Somehow. Because this prevents you from milling out. You have to like extinction event your own dude, bro. Which is funny. Or you just kill them with Shark Typhoons at that point. Like, it's not too bad. Well, you can't grab Thassa's Oracle with Lich can still win. If you would draw a card. Oh, you can put this on the stack first. Yeah. Yep. Okay, now I understand. So you don't even have to do it. Yep. That makes sense. Okay. And then if they happen to answer your Jace, then you're like, oh, looks like I won't self-mill myself this time. We'll find another way to win the game. So yeah, this is a pretty intricate list. I love this. I'll have to give this a shot sometime. Looks really interesting, actually. I don't know what I would change about this. I'd have to spend a lot more time on this list. It looks like it has a really good setup for a base, though. No cards in sideboard, no cards in library. Yeah, no cards in library. Yeah, it's just that normally if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. So Litch says if this went on the stack first automatically, if you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3, and then you wouldn't draw, like you wouldn't try to draw for this trigger. So you would have to do this first. Like on the stack, this would have to go up first. To my knowledge, with the mechanics and stuff, how the game works. Like if both of these are out. But if you order the stack trigger, I forgot that ordering the stack is a thing that you can do. You don't have to worry about exiling your own Lich, which is awesome. So that's cool. I like this list a lot. This is my favorite list. It's close with Chandra's Big Booty, but this is a good one too. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys some brews to mess around with. I definitely liked the Lich's deck. I thought originally when the person submitted the list, it sounded like a Lich's Mastery deck, and then I realized it was Underwhelmed Lich, which is just one of my favorite cards of all time. I just love the value, the graveyard throwing things into there to self-mill, and then using another new card like the Titan's Nest just looks like a lot of fun, man. And I might actually do a co-stream with Callus, the dude that submitted the list, potentially, so I can dig into it and learn how to play that because it looks like fun. Right now he's 19-2 with it. Now that's, I usually don't like to dig into the win rate here and there, like, you know, because I was like, what was it, like 23-3 with like mono green Tron back in the day, and like it just tanked to like 76-37 or something over the course of several games. But even then, it's not even, it's a little over 100 games anyway, variants, etc. But I feel like I'll do better with a list with a coach anyway, or like someone I can co-stream with to see if I'm doing the right decisions. So if you guys are interested in that, stop by the stream sometime and just ask about it. And with that being said, I'll have all the list exportable down below in order from first to last. So if you saw something you like, you can just check the description, export it. And there'll be an end panel here. You can subscribe, really helps the channel. And I will catch you guys for the next video. Thanks for chilling out, and